傷だらけのフェルディナンドはもうこの世に高貴なオートクラト4世だけだ。バカも消え失せるがよい。世をオートクラト4世と呼びたたえるが、さすれば相応の褒美を取らせる。さま
新しい操り人形のいいとこしら。面白くなりそうね。そう、私のクロニク教教皇でルクレチア様。ルクレチアは教皇様の自慢の作品なの。あんたもそう思うでしょ。怖がらないで。見たくないから。私があんたに与える最高の栄誉よ。完璧な世界が私を呼んでいるわ。聞こえるわよね。
よくルクレチアの偉大なる理想を叶えようではないか。
Hello everyone, Fjaller here again, and I'm here with Frontier.
Hi.
And as always, we are here with a guest. We have Hazuchio with us today.
Hello there.
So today we're going to be talking about Autokrato and Lucretia, two Tensei characters, because all they ever add anymore are Tensei characters and collab characters.
And now I must leave. Goodbye.
Okay, well I guess Frontier is not going to be joining us today. So
Peace.
So I can work with that. All right. So I guess it's just you and me now, Haz. Does that make you feel more comfortable?
Yeah, two-man, we can do this.
Okay. All right. Well, like I was saying, we're going to talk about Autokrato and Lucretia. Autokrato is a major character in Langrisser Tensei. Lucretia is sort of important, and naturally, of these two, Autokrato is the less impressive one because Lucretia is a girl and therefore has a better kit. So I guess we can start by talking a little bit about Autokrato. We'll save Lucretia for later. I guess before I say anything, did you look at his kit yet, Haz?
Yeah, I did look at both of the kits.
Okay, so do you have any initial impressions of Autokrato?
When I first looked at Autokrato's kit, it just looked like the second Bernhardt without a faction buff. But then his 3C does stand out. You can use this to break a tank push strategy and use the effect to just displace opponents. I'm not sure if he's gonna see much play.
Yeah, that's a really good summation, because when you first look at his kit, you really do immediately notice that the majority of his skills are the same ones as Bernhardt, which I guess makes sense because in the story, they fill similar roles, except Autokrato does not have the faction buff, like you mentioned. And I think the immediate knee-jerk reaction to that would be to think that Autokrato is just a cheap imitation of Bernhardt, because the faction buff just adds so much flexibility to a character. So what Autokrato gets instead is a number of extra enemy disruption and AoE abilities. You know, he has a line AoE that pushes people around. He's 3C, also shuffles units around, similar to, Rainforce's 3 cost. And it causes them to only be able to move in straight lines, which is a very odd status effect to be inflicting, but it sounds like it could be pretty disruptive, especially on certain maps where there's some terrain that can get in your way. He has a single target attack that does 1.5 times damage, and it says if it's not guarded, then it teleports the target backwards. Now, this is different from most push-back skills because it says teleport instead of displacement, so you cannot prevent this with Hilda, or Landius cannot prevent himself from being pushed back by this. Now, what I believe happens with this is that you actually teleport the target backwards, and that means that ignores enemies that might be blocking the way or terrain that might be blocking the way. So I believe if in the right situation you use this on a tank directly, because the effect doesn't take place if it gets guarded. So in that case you would need to use it to attack a tank. You would actually teleport the opponent's tank backwards, which can have a number of applications, I think.
Yeah, that looks really difficult to do. When you're facing against Juggler, you're most likely going to put 3 units around your tank. So you can do the same thing against Autokrato here.
Yeah, I do think Autokrato is like... recently there was like a tier list that came out, and I think they put Autokrato in like the A rank or the B rank out of... the top rank was SP rank, and then it was S rank, A rank, and B rank. I think they put Autokrato in like A or B rank, which I think is about right. He looks like he could be good, but he does seem to have a lot of weaknesses.
He does have another 2-cost skill, Usurp. Attack one enemy in a selected line, steal 3 buffs, and push them back 3 blocks. This one looks pretty interesting. I think this one is you can only attack one enemy though. Yeah, I'm not sure how this works. It says dealing 1.5 times damage. That means it's like a normal attack?
Right, so this is kind of like Strong Wind Snipe, where it is a single target skill, but it's in a line targeting wise, so you need to line up with your opponent before you can use it.
Right. And it doesn't say that the melee soldiers can auto attack.
That's a good point.
Still seems fine.
Yeah,
the buff. Dispel 2 range guard.
Yeah, dispel 2 range guard, take away defense buffs, take away Landius's talent buff. I guess you could even steal Hilda's class change if you're lucky. So, a couple things you could do with this, I think.
So it's not likely that he's gonna use Sword Dance, but you still have the option to.
I think because his kit is varied enough, he can actually be both single target and AoE based on what you need for a given situation. So you can do like Sword Dance plus his 3-cost skill if you just want to do a AoE set. Unlike Bernhardt, he doesn't have Rupture, which is probably... not having Rupture is probably a pretty big loss compared to Bernhardt. But he does have Sword's Breath, which is the extra AoE attack after doing any type of attack. So single target or AoE, you can do Sword's Breath again after that. So I think a couple things you could do with this, like you could like... Maybe you could use Demon Slayer, although his skill isn't very high, so Demon Slayer probably wouldn't be very reliable. You can use Blood Sword, and maybe try to get multiple activations of Blood Sword.
Yeah, it's probably looking like Blood Sword or Balance Blade here.
Yeah. If you think you're going to be using him in single target sometime, I think Blood Sword is definitely more useful. And his 3-cost skill is like his 3-cost skill doesn't really need Balance Blade even. I think it's really big range already. It's like 3x6 range.
You can make this longer.
Yeah. It's extra range is always nice.
Really get everyone in there.
Yeah. And what is it? It's 5 cooldown, and if you hit 3 targets, cooldown -3. But he doesn't have any other cooldown reductions built into his kit, so if you don't run clock, you're gonna have to deal with that 2-turn cooldown.
And get around that.
I guess the last thing I want to compare to Bernhardt here is his talent. First, he gets some stat bonuses when entering battle, which is pretty standard, but I guess it's worth noting that his talent doesn't power up his AoEs since it's entering battle. But he also has an aura that's similar to Bernhardt that makes people weaker, but Bernhardt just straight up lowers people's attack and defense as long as they're in that aura. For Autokrato, it's for every block moved, they deal less damage if they're in the aura, which seems a little less useful than Bernhardt, but I'm not sure. Like, do you have any thoughts on that?
Oh, this actually goes really well with the 1-cost passive Taunt, where Taunt says for every block moved, the opponent takes less fixed damage. Otherwise, they're gonna take 3 times Autokrato's attack as fixed damage.
Ah, got it. Okay. It's an interesting combo.
That works pretty well together. You either take less damage by moving a lot and do less damage, or you just eat a ton of damage from fixed damage from Taunt.
So do you think that would make him, you would try to use him as a tank even? Like, he does have strong arm.
Yeah, he is very tanky. You can look at the soldier bonus. You have 40 soldier health and 40 soldier defense. So he's going to be quite good against physical attackers. The one thing I don't like about his talent is it doesn't affect his AoE abilities at all. No increased attack, no increased damage.
That's
probably still going to see Autokrato being played on clock though.
Yeah, again, similar to Bernhard, I guess. It's like he's very tanky DPS, and you can use him as a physical tank in a pinch, but not really a first pick for tanking, certainly. Especially with all the crazy mages running around.
Yeah. I think he's gonna be similar to Himiko, where you're just gonna try to use AoEs a lot. With Balance Blade and the long range skill there, a SERP with Balance Blade. So you're gonna have a range of 4 and a range of 7 as AoE skills. Actions are pretty good, I guess. He is missing the mythical faction though, which is still going to be very strong. Empire is going to see a lot more play, and then you're going to be get a faction buff for him a lot easier once Bernhard 3C comes in.
Yeah, by the time Autokrato comes out, Bernhard 3C will be around for a long time. Empire, yeah, I don't think it'll be any problem for him to get a faction buff. Hilda's in almost every box. Ares is still in almost every box. Bernhard is in a lot of boxes. Rosenseal is in almost every box. Yeah, I don't think getting a faction buff for this guy is going to be a problem for most of the meta chasing boxes, at least. It's kind of crazy to me that they're still buffing Empire and Tensei. In this patch, of course, both characters are both of those factions. Although I guess with these two characters, Empire and Tensei were kind of obvious choices for them for faction.
Every new unit is just Tensei. Yeah, like Princess and Strategy and all the other factions are just left in the dust.
I guess the point of all of this is to say that Autokrato, he'll get his faction buff pretty easily, and that alone makes him a lot more viable, at least in the current meta.
Maybe we'll see SP Matthew.
Don't do that. Don't give me hope. Okay, do you have anything else you want to say about Autokrato here?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. Does his character design remind you of anybody?
Rainforce, I guess.
Maybe. I see a lot of people saying he looks like Rao Lecruze from Gundam Seed.
Yeah, could be. Those clones usually have a nickname. Like, Rao Lecruze, pretty sure he had like some sort of weird nickname. And other clones have like the Blue Falcon.
Oh, right. They have like some
Nightmare of Solomon.
Well, this guy doesn't need a special nickname. His name is already just straight up Autokrat. I don't know. I don't think I'd be any good at coming up with cool nicknames. Do you think you have anything?
Nah.
Okay.
We'll see in the story.
Okay, well, everyone feel free to give us your suggestions in the comments. What kind of stupid Gundam nickname would Autokrata have? Okay, well, I guess with that out of the way, we can talk about the star of this banner, who is Lucretia. So, tier lists have been appearing, and they're already putting Lucretia up at the top, alongside Rosenseal, alongside Tensei Jessica, Reen, pretty much all the crazy characters. Lucretia is there alongside him. I think it is very well deserved. Lucretia's set looks absolutely crazy. What do you think?
Yeah, there's a lot that makes her top tier. Like, if she just had a summon that did absolutely nothing, and she'd still be pretty top tier. It's just free. You can use this to body block, keep choke points on certain maps. Or just like a body block for your tank, in case you're up against Autokrat or against Jungler.
Okay.
A lot of uses.
Yeah. I guess we can just kind of go down the list and like explain why she's good. So let's start with her talent. So first off, she has the HP converts into damage dealt for the character. So the higher her HP, the more damage she does, up to 30%. 30% is the highest we usually see on any mage. Rachel has 30%. Yulia has 30%. I think Lana has 30%. Usually the mages with 30% damage, like they hit really, really hard. Damage dealt increase is usually better than an int increase for a mage, especially because int increase doesn't apply to soldiers. So aside from that, like even just that alone already makes her pretty good in terms of damage. But of course, like you said, she has a free summon that she summons at the start of a battle. So this puppet that she summons, it's a one-time summon. You can't replace it if it dies. So that is an important thing about Lucretia. If she loses her puppet, she does lose a lot of effectiveness because a lot of her extra skills, or I guess extra qualities, come from the puppet still being alive. So first off, this puppet gives her a revive. So we have a mage with a revive. I mean, if you don't count Yulia as a mage, like mages, Yulia is like I guess a magic swordsman more like. So I think this is probably the first mage we've had that has a revive. I can't think of anybody else right now.
Yeah. I call mages the ones that use sorceress.
Yeah. So this, as long as this puppet is around, it has 3 skills, and they are all pretty good. So first off, it has a passive that grants Lucretia herself +2 range, so she has 4 range as long as the puppet is around. It's just free 4 range. She doesn't need to stack up like Tensei Just. She doesn't need to buff herself up like Noemi. She doesn't need to wear a special staff. She just has 4 range as long as the puppet is around. The second skill allows the puppet to reduce Lucretia's skills cooldown by 1. So skill cooldown reduction. Again, very powerful. And the final one says that the puppet can swap spots with Lucretia, and then the puppet gets to act again. Now this final one sounds like it's not very useful at first, but once we explain the rest of her kit, you'll probably understand why this is actually really crazy. She has a lot of the typical really good single target attacks that you associate with good mages. She has Free Strike, she has Dark Reaper, she has Cleanse if you want to take away some buffs. I believe that, and she has her 3-cost skill. Her 3-cost skill is kind of like a mirrored version of Tensei Jessica's 3-cost skill. So this 3-cost skill debuffs the target with basically they get all stats minus 30%, which is crazy. It does 1.6 times damage and it is effective against holy units. So it's basically effective against. So T-Jess's 3-cost is effective against everything except holy units. Lucretia's is effective against only holy units. But even ignoring that, like reducing all stats by 30% and having Lucretia's 30% damage bonus in her talent, even without the effectiveness against something like Hilda or Landius, I think Lucretia still has a pretty good chance of blowing them up. So do you want to before we move on to her AoE abilities, do you want to comment on her single target potential?
Oh, we can go back to the magic puppet first. I completely missed her second ability from the puppet.
Okay.
Which can reduce the cooldown of all skills of the target by 1. So you can actually target units other than the summoner. So this is going to be pretty big. Like, if you have a Liana act again, you can reduce the cooldown on that by 1, or anything else. And that seems really valuable.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, this 3C does look really strong.
Yeah.
Since it's like a really strong Dark Reaper. It does 1.6 times damage instead of 1.3, and you're basically ignoring the opponent's magic defense by 30% using this. Now, there is one way around this where you bring Mass Protect on people like Liana, or just bring Shield on either Iris or Tiaras. And that gives the magic defense down immunity. Yeah, that.
Shield, Gospel, those will protect you. And I guess it's worth pointing out that if you actually cannot completely rely on Rosen to stop this, because attack intelligence minus 30%, defense minus 30%, magic defense minus 30%, skill minus 30%. That is 4 separate debuffs.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
You can actually see AoE teams coming back like this, and then just try to overwhelm the Rosensio.
Yeah, I mean, people already do that sometimes, but yeah, like AoE plus single target, like a mixed team does work.
Probably just easier to ban Rosensio.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing about this 3C and what makes it so amazing is it only has a cooldown of 3.
Oh yeah.
Compared to others, which is like always 5. Why is this at 3 and it's like not fair?
Because she's a cute loli anime girl, so she's obviously stronger than the big strong emperor.
Yeah, the 1.6 times damage is also insanely strong.
Yeah, it's the same strength as Tensei Jessica's 3 cost. So in terms of single target, I would say she's probably on par with Tensei Jessica. Maybe she has some things that she can't do compared to Tensei Jessica in those terms. But I think in terms of sheer like single target power, like I think it's pretty close, if not better. So now I guess we can talk about the fact that Tensei Jessica is not a very good AoE character, but Lucretia, because she has damage dealt in her talent, that is not like restricted to single target, she is also very good at AoE. So let's take a look at some of her AoEs. First off, she has Black Hole, because of course. She has Heaven's Sanction, also a nice damage option. She has a line AoE that does 1 random debuff. That one's okay. And finally, she has one final one that is also similar to Heaven's Sanction around either herself or her puppet. And this will do both heal block and buff block. So just this AoE, like on its own, is kind of crazy. This skill is not only it's both decay and acid burns at the same time. It has a larger span, and Lucretia can cast it from a safe distance because she can cast it around the puppet. So you can just send the puppet in if you want to and cast it around the puppet. And then finally she has a one more skill, which is a 1-cost passive. So it says that after she does damage, they will get a debuff, a special debuff called Shadow Mark. So if the puppet attacks an enemy with Shadow Mark, then the puppet ignores guard and does more damage and takes less damage. So going back to the puppet's 3rd skill, where it says the puppet will swap positions with Lucretia and then act again, you combine that with this passive and an AoE. So you can like Lucretia, like basically the sequence of events you would do is Lucretia runs in, casts an AoE, you take the puppet's turn, you use the skill that swaps its position with Lucretia, and now you have 2 options. You can either run away with the puppet, and now your opponent cannot respond. You basically got a free shot with an AoE, and they can't do anything about it. Or the puppet can now pierce guard, because Lucretia has just put that debuff on the enemy team. You can pierce guard, and if your puppet's strong enough, like this puppet copies Lucretia's stats, so if the puppet is strong enough, like, and your AoE is strong enough, you could potentially use the puppet to finish someone off. The unit range +2 from the puppet does apply to her AoEs, so with stuff like Black Hole, she has 5 range on the Black Hole. She can shoot the Black Hole has a 5 range attack distance. Like, I mean, Lana has a 4 range Black Hole, but she doesn't get any bonus damage on the Black Hole. Lucretia gets to shoot it from 5 range and get 30% damage on it. I don't know what to say. Like, Haz, do you want to say something here?
Yep, the Black Hole is nice. It also should apply to the other AoEs, like the Spirit Contamination and Heaven's Sanction.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do some really long AoEs, so you could play her with Clock.
Yeah, you can. She fits into both single target and AoE boxes for sure. And she can fill.
Another thing nice is that she has Mass Attack in case you don't have a faction buff somehow, even though she has really nice factions.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's one of the only things that Light of Genesis has over Lucretia. Light of Genesis has better support potential. She can teleport. Strengthen works a little bit better with Tensei Jessica compared to Mass Attack, because Mass Attack will usually have a dead turn. Lucretia cannot act again and cycle the cooldown. Although, I mean, I guess the puppet can lower her cooldown by 1. But, Tensei Jessica has a little bit more, I guess, tactical flexibility. Lucretia as a unit by herself seems crazier than Tensei Jess. I don't know if you would agree with that.
I think she's as strong as Tensei Jessica. Probably not better.
Okay.
There's a lot you can do with teleport.
Yeah. I mean, basically the only thing she doesn't do is heal people.
Okay, you heal people by killing your opponents fast enough.
Okay. That's one way of doing it.
She's going to be really strong against Elwyn. You can shoot the Elwyn dead and then finish the revived Elwyn with the puppet.
Yeah. There's so many things you could do with her. I'm like I said, I will not dispute people who put her at the top of a tier list. Like, I think she definitely deserves that spot. She's pretty crazy.
Her mobility is going to be quite bad though, so it's going to be tough choosing between Clock or Breeze.
That's the thing though, like, does she really need the extra mobility when she can shoot a black hole from 5 spaces away, or like, and she can fire a single target skill from 4 spaces away? I mean, of course, more range is always better.
All the assassins have a lot longer range, so that's going to be tough.
I mean, I guess you could also do things like swap the summon with Lucretia before Lucretia acts, and then Lucretia goes into attack. Like, I mean, I think that can be used sometimes. I don't think it's going to be used very often, but I do think that is also an option.
That's a good point too. You can get Tenyo buff on the puppet. Send in the puppet, act again, swap positions. That can work.
If you do that, Lucretia is now deep inside the enemy territory, so she's pretty frail. So like she would die if you didn't take care of your opponent.
Yep. Just have to know when you can safely engage.
I have arisen.
I guess Frontier actually is in this episode after all. So
Hi.
Okay. So Frontier, we just finished talking about Autokrato and Lucretia, the 2 new characters that landed on the Chinese server, and
Yes, loli and not loli.
you're gonna need to narrow it down for our viewers there. I think that describes a lot of banners.
Yes, it's a lot of the game.
Basic conclusion we came to: Autokrato, good but not great. Lucretia, absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, I'm looking at her like, no. Oh, transpose. Swaps position with the summoner and acts again. Oh,
Yeah,
no.
like, I guess one thing that I saw some people complain about is that Lucretia is it's a straight up power creep of Lana. I know it's like
Yes.
I know some people are gonna say like, well, you know, almost every new mage is better than Lana now, but the thing about it is that there was never a mage that like just straight up was better than Lana at everything. Only Lana could shoot black hole from 4 spaces away. Lana had a couple unique things she could do still, but Lucretia, I think she could do everything Lana does better than her, and she has more other toys that Lana doesn't have. So yeah, that's like the final nail in the coffin for Lana.
Rip my 6-star Lana.
Yeah, I mean, Lana really needs an SP class now. Like, I think Lucretia seems kind of crazy. I mean, I guess when you compare it to Tensei Jessica, like, it seems par for the course. But Haz, do you think people are gonna use like better magic tanks now that there's like these 2 really crazy single target mages going around?
About it, they're just gonna keep bringing the same stuff because of faction buffs and what they do.
Well, I guess, do you think Luna is gonna see any more use?
Luna might return just as sort of like...
Yeah, because between Tensei Jess, Lucretia, and of course we now have Kayura, who was a magic assassin, putting Luna back in the box is sounding more and more attractive, like, to deal with all this. Do you think that would work?
Faction buffs for the units, you can speed up both the summoner and the puppet.
Oh, you're talking about using Luna alongside Lucretia. Okay.
No,
okay, sure.
speed.
That is also true, yes.
Yeah.
One other thing about Lucretia is you can actually use Astaroth. After like 5 seasons, you could use this again. Because 3C applies 4 debuffs before battle.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think if you want Lucretia to do both AoE and single target, you probably have to stick to like Red Moon or whatever.
Plays all of Luna's stuff and give it to Lucretia.
Yep. So what Luna can do is you can buff Lucretia with that King's Crown effect, give her faction buff, speed her up, and that makes the Lucretia go in with AoEs.
All right. Sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a plan, yeah.
That's about everything.
Okay. Okay, well, if you guys don't have anything else to add, I guess we can talk a little bit about the new 3-cost skills they added. I guess we can start with the one most people are going to be excited about, which is Akka. Akka got a 3-cost skill, which I'm not really surprised. This is pretty much what I expected Akka's 3-cost skill to look like. It's an attack skill. So it's it's like it's kind of like Dark Reaper a little bit, but it's both melee and ranged, and it will attack with whichever stat is higher for Akka. The nice thing about this is that because melee soldiers attack with it, that means you can do things like you can finally do things like have a cavalry Akka with bone dinos or something, and you can attack from 2 range with a magic attack if you build her correctly. Because before, if you wanted to use Dark Scythe on a cavalry Akka, you needed to bring like the spiders or wizards or something. It was very limiting because this skill attacks 1-2 range, and it can also do either physical or magical depending on how you build Akka. It kind of fills a skill slot that she kind of really wished she had. And it slots pretty nicely because Akka kind of runs with Blooded Ashika all the time nowadays. Like it's pretty rare that Akka runs without that skill anymore. And I guess the final thing it does is that after you attack with it, you can move 2 blocks, and then she will create a totem. Basically, it's kind of like the Sword of Protection from Rosalia. So basically, it's a 1-block terrain that has an aura. It's like it reduces the enemy's attack and defense by 10% and gives them random debuffs. Like I don't think the totem is particularly impressive. I think the attack is pretty nice. Mm-hmm. Not revolutionary for Akka, but I think it's a nice attack that she likes to have.
I think the attack is pretty irrelevant considering she already have Dark Reaper. And the troops are always going to do either physical or magical damage depending on what troops they are. Since it's just the attack that Akaya is attacking that deals either physical or magical damage.
The situation that I'm saying that this fills the niche for is basically if you play a cavalry Akka and you want to attack with Dark Reaper. Before this, if you wanted to use Dark Reaper on a Cav Akka, you had to use spiders, which are kind of bad, honestly. But now, because this launches the soldiers, you can use a skill that's similar to Dark Reaper, but you can use it alongside Bone Dinos. You can use Werewolves, which are both troops that Akka has, which are way better at dealing damage than the spiders, I think.
Oh yes, the werewolves should be good.
Yeah, she has werewolves, so you combine the werewolves with like a Dark Reaper-like skill. I think it's an improvement on her damage output, which I think is pretty nice.
Yep, that should be good. I'm actually liking the totem.
Okay.
That drops the attack down by 10%. Every single point of stat matters.
I mean, yeah, it's like a portable Bernhard aura, slightly weaker, but yeah, it's always nice.
Just stack all of it. Have Bernhard, have defense down, attack down, and watch as your opponent do no damage.
Akka has a very nice kit already. I mean, she has of course her speed boost with attack boost. She has her act again skill. So it's nice if you're one of those people that built Akka with nice offensive stats and you want her to punch really hard as well. I've seen Akka's punch really hard before. She can get pretty crazy stats.
Yeah, so Akaya have to drop her act again here just for that. So she's going to be played like you just AoE buff your team with willpower and then just go in, kill something, or take a life off of somebody, drop the totem around their team. That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's increasing all your units' attack by 30%. Lowers third by 10%. So there's a big difference there.
Alright, sounds good. Alright, any thoughts, Frontier?
I like it. Yeah, I mean, raising my Akka up She's in my sub box for the PvE, so I'm fully prepared.
I am okay with them like punishing people who play Akka as purely as a support and did not bother building her attack stats, because some people think Akka is only a movement battery. I mean, she's good at that, but I do like them giving her more in terms of her own damage output to reward the players that actually built her to be able to do that as well. All right, I guess. So the next two 3-cost skills are SR 3-cost skills. I mean, they're running out of SSRs to give 3-cost skills to, so sure, they're giving out the SR 3-cost skills. So let's start with Pirotess. So Pirotess's 3-cost skill damages herself before she attacks, which activates her talent because she needs to be lower than 100% life for her talent to be active. It also has an active portion that gives her that's a 3-range attack that gives her soldier range +1, so she can attack at 3 range. And then it heals 20% HP after battle if she has more skill, so I guess it's supposed to be like gets a tick of fixed damage to herself and lowers her HP, deals more damage, and then after battle she heals that HP back so her last rises back up. My basic take on this is that Pirotess, I guess, is usable now, but really, this should have been a skill that she had to begin with. That's kind of my take on it.
He still seems worse than Omega.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know one guildie who really likes Pirotess. I'm sure he's going to be very happy about this one. Pirotess really doesn't have a lot going for her. She has attack command. That's probably the most unique thing about her as an assassin.
Yeah, we can just compare her to Omega. Like, same mobility, same move, same range, same everything, except she have to attack through the opponent's troops.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, at least she can kill someone like Lucretia.
Okay. If she can reach her, then sure.
You just play Omega or Sigma.
Hey, Pirotess was free, okay? Like, just respect the
bootleg. Yeah, it's bootleg Omega.
It's bootleg Omega, and you forget she has boobies. Okay.
You're right. Yeah. Wait, no, hold up. Omega has boobies too.
Right. Omega with his nice pecs. Yeah. Okay, I retract my statement. I'm sorry. Pirotess sucks now. I guess last one is Grenier, the leading man of the game, of course. Grenier is the real main character of Langrisser Mobile, and he's finally gotten his 3-cost skill. Okay, so this is a all guard. It guards both physical and magical. Guard range, when he uses it, guard range increases to 2. He gets power stab. He gets skill plus 30%. He gets 2 stacks of his talent, and he gets this weird terrain effect below him that treats all his terrain as city wall. So he's permanently on a city wall for 2 turns.
Ooh.
Well, as long as he stays on that square, I mean.
Yeah.
And then he restores 20% life after taking action. So, this is actually a pretty good 3-cost. Like, in it, like if I was going to take it just by itself, like it's actually pretty good. A couple things missing. It does not have undispellable power stab. That kind of annoys me. I mean, when you look at Layden's 3-cost, undispellable divine guard, Vargas's undispellable power stab, Emilia undispellable magic defense conversion. So it's like all of them got their conversions undispellable, but for some reason Grenier does not get that. Overall, the only thing I have to say about this is that it's a really good 3-cost if you liked using Grenier in PvE. He's going to be better for PvE. He can guard magic as well now. He's got like a lot of buffs now, and that sets up his helmet to work, so he can counterattack for more damage. The extra skill is nice if you like using the 1-cost skill from his archer class that lets him attack first. But overall, like, you can't solve Grenier's problems with a good 3-cost. I mean, you might have been able to if you gave him like an insane 3-cost, but they didn't do that. All things considered, this is good 3-cost. You know, like, I'm gonna appreciate this when I use Grenier for like my SR clears and stuff, but yeah, it's not. I don't think it's relevant to anybody else other than people who just like the character. Like, you're not gonna be using it in PvP or anything.
My one question is, isn't there like a Lancer troop training field that does more damage or something if you're on tiles that would increase defense?
If you don't have a terrain bonus, then you'll get extra defense and match defense, which is nice. But really, I think this skill is a little bit more tailored towards his archer class, because it was harder to get power stab on his archer class because he couldn't really fit power stab into his archer's skill kit. Skill plus 30% is nice for the archer passive that gives him. I mean, you can equip it on his lancer as well, but he has more skill on his archer class, and it lets him attack first. And as for the what is it? The thing that lets him that puts him on terrain. There's an archer node that says if you are on defensive terrain, you will deal increased damage. So this is meant to be combined with Grenier's Bolt Rangers. So Bolt Rangers, Bolt Rangers are archer type. They're pretty nice for tanking both physical and magical. You'll be on terrain, so you'll deal more counter damage. And I'm not sure if his helm applies to soldiers. I've never tested that. But if it does, then you'll deal even more counter damage. I mean, it's like at the end of the day, Grenier is really gimmicky. Like if you build him, but people who like gimmicky stuff, like it's gonna be fun to play around with. I think that's really the most you could have asked for Grenier's 3-cost skill. I think this is about as good of a 3-cost you could have expected from him. The only thing I think kind of sucks is that it doesn't have an undispellable power stab. That's the thing that annoys me about it. Other than that, I think it's about as good as anybody could have expected for like the freebie like starter character. If you want Grenier to like get to like become some kind of super meta unit, you're gonna have to wait for SP Grenier. Any comments here, Haz? I know you're not a big PvE guy, but
Well, the thing with this terrain thing is he creates a city wall under him. So it doesn't really help if you want to bring Elven cavalry archers. So you have to use Bolt Rangers.
Yeah, Bolt Rangers. Yeah, it doesn't work with. Yeah, that's the weird thing. Like, that was kind of weird.
There's another thing. It only applies to the city wall, like the tile on him, and not to the other tiles that he's going to be guarding on. So most of the time, you're not really gonna benefit much.
Well, no. Okay, so this gives it creates a terrain that gives the buff that says all terrain that this unit passes through is considered city wall. So when Grenier guards, he will take the city wall with him.
Ah, that makes more sense.
Yeah. So, I mean, some people asked if they could like do some kind of gimmicky thing with this plus Illustrial. It would be way too annoying to set up, because what you would need to do is like you would need Grenier to use his guard skill. Grenier needs to move off of that tile, and then Illustrial needs to move onto that tile and end turn, and then the next turn Illustrial can move like really, really far, but like that's not worth doing that.
Yep, not a PvP character.
Okay, so all that out of the way, we can talk about the new exclusive equipment they added. One for Landius and one for Licorice. Landius is, I guess, a long-awaited exclusive. Landius fell a bit out of favor for Season 7. And will this new exclusive save him from obscurity? Spoiler, it does not. What do you think, Haz?
I think it's not too bad, but yeah, like you said, it's not really gonna save him unless there's new legend units that come out.
I was joking around. Like, I don't mean to make it sound like it's bad. Like, it's an okay weapon. The tests that people have done with this have led to the following conclusions. It does not work in melee range, so it actually counts the tiles between the two units for each 5%. So you need to be 2 range for 5% reduction, 3 range for 10% reduction, and 4 range for 15% reduction. It does not improve Landius' melee tanking, which is a huge disappointment. Oh, it's a lance instead of an axe or a sword, so it has lower attack base and higher HP base, which is thanks to the loan.
Yeah, it's like that's weird.
I mean, hey, you know what Sane from Fire Emblem said? Lances look more majestic and heroic. Okay, if you're gonna look like the hero, you gotta use a lance. But yeah, I mean, like the extra range defense is nice to prevent Landius from dying to, I guess, Tensei Jessica or Lucretia 3-cost skill, maybe. It is unit-wide damage reduction from the weapon. It is not, like, only for the hero, so that's pretty nice.
Not really gonna save him. I don't know how they made this into a lance. Like, in the portrait, he is literally using a sword.
I told you, it's more majestic to use a lance, okay?
You'll be even squishier against melee. Compared to the other weapons, you're gonna lose more attack and more defense.
Yeah. Compared to Seal Guardian, you have less defense. Although I guess you have more HP than Seal Guardian because of the higher HP base. Compared to Dragon Slayer has more HP. Throne Guardian has 5% HP, so like, yeah.
I used Dragon Slayer, yeah.
Or
Demon Slayer, whatever it was.
Zlong giving us the Zlong again.
Just weird stuff.
Okay, so yeah, that's really all there is to say. So next is Licorice, but Licorice is exclusive, faring much better, I would say.
Yes, I agree with that.
It's yet another helm because everybody gets helms from exclusives, I guess. First off, HP plus 10%. All right, you're off to a good start. It's not defense or magic defense. It's HP. That's nice. It has two different effects. So first, buffs do not decrease in duration when using act again effects. So Licorice using her transform does not take down her buffs. Pretty nice. And if Licorice has a faction buff from a special faction buff effect, then if she doesn't do damage this turn, she'll get all skills minus cooldown -1. So, yeah, really nice. I mean, there's so many things you can do with this. You can use Licorice as a legit faction buffer now. Like before, it was kind of limiting to use Licorice as a faction buffer, but now what you can do is that you can use Licorice with faction buff, mass heal, and maybe like mass resist. Like you don't even have to bring the transform. Like you can make Licorice into like an AoE healer, because you can just use mass heal plus her healing terrain, and because she isn't doing damage, she can cast it every single turn. So she just mass heal every single turn. Nice AoE heals, and of course the terrain removing debuffs and also healing more. If Bozel is faction buffing Licorice, she can bring mass heal plus Dark Despair, or like you could just bring her typical Dark Despair plus Dark Dragon Breath set alongside Bozel, and she'll get the cooldowns back faster if you don't get lucky with clocks. So yeah, overall just a really nice exclusive, I think. What do you think, Haz?
One does look really good. Initially,
Mm-hmm.
you can spam mass heals, and that's about it. And then the downsides though is you cannot use Tenyo's hat, and
Sure.
getting those +3 mobility Tenyo hats on key units like Listel, going in for a whole team blood dance that just instantly ends games, or like get it on Bozel, entire team black hole that instantly ends games. Now that's a big nerf. If you decide to go this route.
I do think like being able to run Licorice as a mass heal spammer is kind of interesting, especially because like when you consider the fact that like she'll also be protecting your terrain. Like you're not going to be annoyed by Helena, you're not going to be annoyed by like old Landius and all that stuff, because Licorice can just spam mass heal every turn, put Perter tiles everywhere.
I like it. I'm still trying to get it to 6-star, so once I start using my Dark/Mystic AoE team, I'll be able to, do Storm shenanigans.
Alright, so Haz, you like this one, but with reservations, basically.
Yeah, this one is pretty good. I will probably use this over Tenyo's hat, but a Tenyo hat RNG can just win games.
Yeah. I feel like they've added several aspects to the game where they're trying to get people to move away from Tenyo's hat. Like, for example, there is that new hat we're going to get soon, which restores a bit of life if you're in a mixed troop. They're trying to get people to use that to counter Twilight Stars. Being able to counter Twilight Star is also useful against Kayura, who's going to be omnipresent. Kayura sometimes really relies on her Twilight Stars to get some of her kills. So if you can wear that healing hat against Kayura, it can protect you from getting killed by Kayura. It saves Yulia sometimes. And there's like, what else is there? And I guess they like to add exclusive helms all the time. Like half the exclusives are helms. It's it's crazy. All right, we're going to talk about a hat they just added, actually. We're going to talk about it in a minute. I guess if you guys don't have anything else to add, we could just move on to those new pieces of equipment. So they, once again, they have added 4 new pieces of equipment. They have added a staff, a cloth armor, a cloth helm, and an accessory. So we can start with the staff. It is a intelligence staff that also gives, when you cast skills on allies, remove 1 debuff. So basically, it's an intelligence staff that also functions like a forest priest on a weapon. Yeah, I like it a lot. I'm probably going to use a lot of this. I mean, it is a loss over Goddess's Left Hand. Goddess's Left Hand can sometimes be very useful in late game when you want to lock a tank. But I think this has its own uses, removing debuffs. Nice. Intelligence boost can make your healers hit a bit harder, which sometimes can come in handy as well. I don't think it's going to be very useful on any attack mages or anything. You need this on a healer or something. What do you think, Haz?
You can now use Rosencio faction buff to clear 1 debuff from someone far away.
Okay, sure. That's one thing you can do, yeah.
Other than that, you can just use this to mass heal, use it on Wilder Dispel to get rid of everything off of Reen debuffs. Yeah. I think for he can already do that.
Mm-hmm.
With the addition of this, though, it helps all the other healers.
Mm.
If you get hit by a Reen debuff and you really want to dispel everyone, it's going to help with that.
Yeah. I like that this has intelligence instead of healing effect. I mean, you do lose out on a bit of healing power, of course, but sometimes you still attack with your healers, and the extra intelligence might be pretty useful in those cases.
Yep, you can probably use it to finish off a half-health SPL1.
Yeah. Alright, yeah, it's a nice staff. Yeah, I like it.
I do, yeah, I want it.
So I guess we can talk about the cloth helm next. So this one is, well, first off, HP plus 10%. Alright, nice. You're learning, Zalong. You're learning that anything other than health sucks. So also, this is like a Sage's hat again, but instead of giving immunity to Moby Down, it gives damage taken minus 15% and immunity to fixed damage. This seems pretty good, but once again, it's the 1 turn duration that kind of sucks. But I do kind of like that because so many people are moving off of Bracer under tanks. This is kind of, I feel like this is almost like tailored design for people who are using lots of blood pack tanks. You can have someone buff your tank with this. They take less damage. They take no fixed damage. You got a stronger tank. I don't know. What do you think, Haz?
I think this is more tailored for those people that really want to avoid dying to the Twilight Stars. You give them reduced damage taken, and you just ignore their Twilight Stars as long as they're using the same set of troops.
Mm.
And if you try to survive off and failed kill like that, you kind of just take over the game.
Alright, if you're a mage, you can just use the Mortal Light Helm that we're about to get. We should be getting that one soon. It's the one that restores your life if you get before you are attacked. It should heal whatever Twilight Star did to you. 10% HP should usually be enough to stop Twilight Star, because Twilight Star, usually it goes off of your weaker attack stat, which is usually very low.
Yeah, that could be an option, but this one also reduces the damage taken by 15%, and if you're trying to survive just from having high enough health and damage reduction, then this is really going to help.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah, but as always, the problem with helms like this is that they only last 1 turn, and you're replacing Tenyos.
I just like the icon a little.
it's like earmuffs.
Yeah, it's very, very cute. I did that. Yeah, I do like when they do that, because I missed the other item about the Christmas lollipop thing. So yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
All right, next is the cloth armor, and many whales have rejoiced at this armor being added, because this armor, HP plus 10%, and when actively attacking, damage taken from reflect effects minus 30%.
Oh,
finally,
I see.
Finally, tanks with their big strong Tensei Jessicas don't have to attack and pray against the dreaded Thorns plus Crystal Molars combo, which we have seen some people die horribly to in the playoffs that just passed on Global. Thorns is dead. What do you think, Haz?
I love it. I love everything about this banner.
Yeah, these are really good items.
Yeah. Haas hates his RNG.
Throw about 300 to 400 summons into this banner. Everything about this, you need multiples of.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think this banner is gonna have the sparking, like the banner we're about to get. That one had a sparking event. I don't think this one will, but yeah, whales are gonna pull for a lot of these robes. I think it's a nice robe. Like you're gonna want to wear this on almost all your single target mages. I would even argue like you could put this on like Yusuke. Like Yusuke dies to thorns pretty easily, so it's kind of like Last Rites is still really nice, but depending on how you use Yusuke, I can actually see this being a choice for him as well.
Yes, I would absolutely do this.
Yeah. Very nice armor. Yeah, Thorns is dead. People like me who put like 5 billion scrolls into Thorns are crying.
Well, you have until August for Thorns to die,
but it's like the feeling that I should have been investing to steal this whole time.
Yes, same. I gotta switch everything on my Landius now.
Yeah, I mean, it's not to say that Thorns is going to be completely useless, because Thorns can still have, I mean, even reduced 30%, like it still can do like a decent chunk of damage. I don't think it will instantly kill any mages anymore, but what it can do is that it will reflect enough damage so that you can follow up and kill them somehow with an AoE or something. So it's not that Thorns becomes completely useless. It's just that Thorns becomes less of a you do nothing and it kills an enemy unit for you. You have to be more active about it, which I think is I think that's a good change. Like,
you're not going to have to worry too much about it, since only the whales are going to have it. You're going to need a lot of these for all team units.
Well, whales are gonna pull hard for this armor. Yeah, they like this one. All right. Okay. Finally, we're gonna go out with because we have this accessory called the Core of Ingenuity, which has all stats plus 5%, and then when attacked and entering battle, the lower stat of your defense or magic defense is increased by 5%. And I'm like, what is this, Zalone? This is worse than Keen's Amulet. Like, what are you doing, Zalone? This has no useful immunities. The stat boosts really aren't that impressive. I think Giant's Belt is better than this. What do you think, Oz?
Absolute trash.
they had to
trying to be Bracer, but no.
Yeah. It's like they had to have one garbage item on the banner, I guess. And they needed to bloat our accessory list. I guess we were getting too many good accessories, as clearly all of us who have been sweeping Timeless Trial every week have been getting just so many good accessories, like our 10 billionth Slayer's emblem and all those giant spells. We needed another bad accessory jammed up the list. Okay?
I haven't gotten a good accessory in months.
Alright.
I'm gonna make it worse.
Alright. Frontier, any thoughts on this?
I've never pulled on any item banner, but I was thinking I'd do a couple, maybe like 30, just to say I tried.
Yeah, maybe I can see sparing a couple, but I probably won't, because like if they don't have some kind of like safety net for this.
Oh, you're right, I don't.
Yeah, equipment banners are usually pure pain for non-whales. Okay, all right. So now we can talk about I know Haz, you tried making her work a little bit back in like season 4 and 5, and she is the sacred waifu of all the new players to this game, because she's given to us for free. Cherie has gotten her.
Oh yeah, you mean the reason I played the game?
Yeah, SB Cherie is here.
Straight up, she's the only reason I started playing this game.
What, did you see her in an ad or something?
Yeah, I saw her like, oh, free SSR. I was like, oh, cool.
It's because it advertised as a free SSR. It wasn't one of those ads where they were like, "Look at this game that has boobs in it."
No, I was like, "Oh,
we don't have deep strategy RPG gameplay. We have girls with boobies. That's what that's what this game is about." Seriously though, like, okay, so SB Cherie is here, and God. I was one of those people that defended SB Ultimuller. Like, some people were saying SB Ultimuller looks kind of bad, and I was like, no. There's like stuff you could do with him. I don't think I'm going to be doing that this time. I don't like SP Cherie very much at all. I can elaborate in a second, I guess, but Haz, what are your initial impressions of SP Cherie?
Not very good.
Oh no.
I really expected more. So the first thing about her talent is you cannot use her against Landius. You cannot use her with Landius either.
Oh.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, she has the terrain master movement. She treats all terrain. She has the juggler movement, so yeah, she gets slowed down by Landius and does not get to move again from the Landius times.
Yeah, so she got a new troop, right? The unicorns.
Yes.
That's to her only the melee damage output, not to the ranged output. So she can't really be used as an assassin using Shadow Raid. Because you still have to use her Goblin Riders to attack at ranged. Which is not good, because the Goblin Riders didn't do any damage. So if she ignored troops, then she would be usable, but right now she is not usable as an assassin. So you have to play her as a melee somehow. And her range is really not that great. She has a mobility of 6 and an attack range of 1. And, 7 mobility is really short compared to what we have now. And what she's good against is not clumped up teams. So perhaps like an enemy team with no tanks. But if they're not playing any tanks, then they're probably going to be playing a lot of long-ranged assassins. And this Cherie is just going to be outranged. So not good in any situation here, as you can see.
So let me just start by saying that I do think SP Cherie is an improvement over the original Cherie. Some people have been saying like she's even worse than the original Cherie. I think that is really exaggerating. I do think she is an overall improvement. But yeah, the improvements they gave her are like really... What are you doing, Zalone?
I'm looking at this and it's like...
What? Okay, so Haz, like you and I, like we kind of brainstormed a little bit when like we were looking over her skill set, and we kind of brainstormed some stuff you can maybe do with it. I guess let's actually explain to the audience first like what's going on here. So first, we have her talent. Now, like you said, she has the juggler, like the juggler ignore terrain talent. She treats all terrain as grasslands. So here's the upside. First, damage taken minus 20%, unconditional. You just get attacked. Take damage taken minus 20%. Very nice. So Cherie, decently tanky DPS when attacking in battle. So single target only. Attack plus 25%. All right. Also nice, because one of Cherie's biggest problems was that she had no attack or damage boost in her talent. But unfortunately, this is an attack boost and not a damage boost. So she is still having a hard time against last rites and stuff. Although, like, she can deal with that in a way. I'll explain that in a second. And finally, she still has her Act Again ability, but it has changed the requirements for it. Instead of killing an enemy to act again, she needs to be attacking an enemy, and then after battle, there has to be 1 or fewer enemies within 2 blocks. So either 1 or 0 enemies within 2 blocks after she attacks, which is very, very restrictive. Looking overall, like, just look at the talent by itself, ignoring terrain. I think, like, yeah, it sucks that she gets blocked by old Landius, but it's still nice to be able to walk over mountains and stuff, I guess. Although, like, before she was a flyer, which was, like, arguably better because she could go on sky tiles. Damage taken reduction, attack boost. These are all nice. Like the talent's not looking so bad, but the Act Again requirement is so restrictive that it just feels like it's really hard to set up a situation, especially in PvP, if people know what you're doing, to get a situation where Cherie can get that Act Again to happen and take full advantage of. So moving on from that, her base stats, she actually has lower base attack than her Dragon Master class in her SP class. This is not a big deal. because like we said, 25% bonus damage, bonus attack from her talent. So overall, definitely way higher attack, even though the base is lower. She is tankier than both her previous classes. She has significantly more health. She has more defense. She has slightly lower magic defense than her Dragon Master class, but that's okay. Not a big deal, I think. And her soldier mods have changed, which is actually also huge. Again, one of the problems with Cherie was that she had only 20% attack on her troops. Now she has 30% attack. Still not the greatest, but another 10% attack plus the 25% attack from her talent, that's pretty nice. So overall her troops have become way stronger. Okay, so that's why I say Cherie SP is definitely a big improvement over normal Cherie, in my opinion. I don't think her attack output is probably going to be way higher. I don't think it's going to be close. 10% extra soldier boost, 25% attack from her talent. Okay, so her princess class is a grounded class. It is not a flying class, but she does ignore terrain. It has base 4 movement, which is kind of interesting. Not a lot of classes have that. And like you said, she got unicorns as her soldier. Even though that is kind of redundant with her talent to a degree, one thing it does do is make it so that no matter what tile you're on, you're always going to have the unicorn bonus active, because she's always on grassland, so always have the unicorn attack bonus active. So that's kind of nice. I think the real killer here is the 2 skills they gave her. The restrictions on her Actigan being as stringent as they are, I don't think would have been a problem if they gave her better skills. So first she got a 1-cost passive, which is pretty good. It just straight up gives move +2. And if she's in mixed forces, which is pretty much all the time because there's no holy troops for her. She's a holy class as princess, by the way. So after taking action, restore 30% life. So okay, whatever. It's just a bit of sustain. The main thing to get from this is 2 free movement, which is it's nice, but it does mean you're dropping Legion, so you lose 10% attack compared to the previous Cherie. But she had more attack from her talent, so that's okay. Bit of a loss, but okay. The biggest problem I have is this Holy Thunder skill. So this Holy Thunder skill looks like absolute trash. It does 1.4 times damage, and it pushes the target back 2 blocks.
Yeah.
So I get what they're doing. They're making it so that, okay, you attack some target, you push them back 2 blocks, and now, hopefully, you don't have 2 or more units within 2 blocks anymore, because you pushed that one enemy out of the way. So now, hopefully, you've acted again, and you can move again. The limitations of this, of course, like Haz mentioned, Cherie's movement, base 6 movement, even though that's... Base 6 movement is decent, but you can breeze for 8, I guess, but compared to a lot of the crazy movement units nowadays, 8 movement is average, as crazy as that sounds. It's you have a lot of displacement immunity. Landius is immune to displacement. Hilda makes her party immune to displacement. You can use the terrain on various maps to kind of protect you from getting displaced, and just in general, if you line up your units correctly, you can kind of prevent Cherie from being able to easily get her act again. You can't shadow raid with this class very easily because, goblins... I mean, you can use goblins still, but, it's goblins are kind of a crappy troop for damage. So Cherie's kill potential is going to be very low as an assassin, so... Yeah, it's there's all these little parts of her kit that look like they would be decent in isolation, but it's you take the whole kit, and I'm taking into consideration the current meta, I'm not very impressed. As for last rites, I mentioned that she might have problem with last rites. The one bright spot to that, her holy class, princess, it can equip swords, it can equip axes, it can equip heavy armor, it can equip light armor. So everything you have equipped on your Cherie right now, you can keep all of that. You can keep her last rites, you can keep her King's Crown, you can keep your Ragnarok. She can still equip all of that on her holy class. That's one of the bright spots of this, but yeah, I don't know. Like I'm trying to imagine like situations where it can get her act again to happen, and it's just like it feels a little bit like Shalinka, where you kind of require your opponent to play a specific way for you to be able to use Cherie properly, and you really don't want a character like that. Although the funny note is that since I brought up Shalinka, they actually kind of encourage opposite unit placements. So I guess if you get Shalinka and Cherie on the same team, you can make someone's brain hurt as to how they're supposed to line up their units. But yeah, like we're getting into super gimmicky territory here. Like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what else to add. Haz, I know I kind of went on a filibuster there. Do you have anything you want to add here?
I guess if you really want to play Cherie, you can make it work facing against Juggler. Like, if your opponent jumps on you and you play Cherie defensively, you can use her with her special equipment, the armor, attack into a full health Juggler. Even if you get killed, you'll be fine, you can push them back. Heal for 50%, or actually 20% of damage dealt, plus 30% of your unit's health. Act again, and maybe attack somebody else. Or attack the Juggler again. So if you want to play Cherie defensively, that's sort of an option, but it would have been better if she had a revive or some sort of effect like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did give her damage reduction 20%, but I don't think that's enough to really make her survive most things nowadays. I mean, she has angels, which can help her survive against magic attacks, against physical, and unicorns have decent magic defense as well. Against physical, I don't think she has a lot of good defenses here.
Yeah, the talent that says when attacked in battle or when attacking in battle, those restrictions are really hurting.
Yeah, like...
Yeah, like some of us, like some people even suggested, like maybe you can use Wind Whisper with her. No, you can't, because the talent is attacking, so it does not work with AoEs. So you cannot even come up with some kind of gimmicky thing with Wind Whisper.
Kind of sad.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the other thing. Like the normal Cherie will take reduced damage while attacking. If she's by herself, this Holy Cherie will take just normal counterattack damage because she does not get the damage reduction unless she is being attacked. So yeah, just a lot of like really weird limitations they gave to SP Cherie that I really think shouldn't have been there. I feel the need to point out that as we're recording this, SP Cherie is still not out because so far as it has still been like the Heart of Desire has come out on a Chinese server, but people haven't had the time to complete all the quests yet. But yeah, like I'm very skeptical that Cherie's gonna find a place. Like, I'm sure there's gonna be like some gimmicky players figuring out some fun plays with her, but like this is the first SP I genuinely like just do not like. I mean, it looks good for PvE though. Like I mean, now that she can act again without killing anything, like you can use her in like Jormungandr, and like she can act again every 2 turns and hit Jormungandr a bunch of times. I mean, I guess that's something.
I mean, yeah, I guess that's something.
I mean, like in PvE, like it's gonna be easier for her to activate the act again on boss fights and stuff. So that's actually kind of useful. So I do think that's pretty powerful. But yeah, like I mean, just like I said, just so many restrictions that I don't think she should have had.
And I'm very sad because I absolutely love the artwork for her SP class.
Yeah, it's pretty nice artwork. I mean, I don't want to make it sound like I'm saying like it's absolutely terrible, like it's unusable or something. But it is like I think this is the most disappointing SP class.
Yeah. It's like SPs are supposed to make the character better in the limelight, but now it's like I don't think people are going to get her SP class.
I mean, I'm sure some people are going to get it. Like I said, for PvE,
yeah,
if you're like a PvE focused player and you like Cherie, like I think this is going to be pretty good actually. But yeah, like it's such a strange. I'm sure it's no coincidence that the underwhelming SP here is the free SSR that every single person has. I don't know.
Wait, I got it. Use Spirit Boots on her.
Yeah.
What's you're gonna have to elaborate there.
After you attack, you move 2 tiles. I have it on my L1.
Okay, got it. Okay. Okay. You do that.
You can actually make this work in melee. If you attack their tank with 3C, stun them, move back 2 blocks, act again, and then you can try to kill somebody else. They're gonna have less attack. But
Yeah. If it's like also like if you are attacking a unit that's guarded, that's 2 blocks away from the tank, it's pretty easy to satisfy her act again as well. So,
well, if you're gonna face against someone that's playing like that, then I don't know. They're just not a good player.
They're lining up just for you to use your Cherie.
Yes.
Hey, it happens, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm disappointed, but not like unusable or anything, but that really isn't something that you should be hearing about this shiny new like renovation to an old.
Yeah.
I'll make Spirit Boots work.
I mean, I'm sure that can work. Like, people use Boots Hiei. Like, honestly, if you're using, like, the Shadow Raid set, if you're going to use her with Shadow Raid, like, I'm pretty sure it's pretty easy to line up in a way so that you can not have a unit within 2 spaces or whatever. But I guess we'll see. Some people have been wondering, like, should I just use the new 1-cost skill, the +2 movement, on her Flyer class? You know, if you use Dragon Master alongside the Goblins, you are a mixed troop, so you do get the healing, I guess, but you also get the movement +2. I don't think that's worth it because you're like SP Cherie does have a lot of extra attack, and I do think that matters a lot.
We also drop Legion.
Yeah. Any final thoughts here, Haz?
I'll make her work with Spirit Boots.
All right, let's see the master do his work when SP Cherie comes.
I will follow your guide.
All right. Yeah, that's all the character content they added. I guess I'll mention real quick some of the like actual gameplay content they added. So first, they added Time Rift 19, the 3rd Langrisser 5 Time Rift this year.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot to say about this. You know, it's just more story. You know, more story is nice. It's nice. There's a free Scepter of Divinity in the treasures for Time Rift 19, which is
good.
Yeah, if any of you are still having trouble getting one of those to drop, yeah, like I think it's throwing you a bone. It's pretty nice to get.
More is always better.
Yeah. So they also added the 4th Forbidden Battleground. Now let's say here, they added, like, the Forbidden Battleground has, like, some challenge levels this time. So in addition to the 4 battlegrounds, there's actually, like, another set of stages that's, like, challenge battles. Otherwise, the rewards are pretty much the same. So I don't have a lot to say about that. And they have done a second run of Dimensional Expedition. We still have not gotten Dimensional Expedition on the global server, but I think we should be getting it very soon. Yeah, this is the second run. So about 5 months after the first run, you are going to get the second run of Dimensional Expedition. Some changes they made this time. The elemental buffs that you can place on character is now, like, it doesn't apply to your entire team if you're playing solo. You can now set it per unit, so you can create the elemental reactions as a solo player now. What else is there? So in addition, they made multiple changes, which taken as a whole are pretty clearly meant to make the mode easier, which is not a problem at all. As we're recording this, the first Dimensional Expedition still hasn't made it to global, but I will say that it was pretty rough on more casual players, especially those in not so big guilds. The mode was very unfriendly towards players without big guilds, and they're trying to fix that a little bit. So a couple changes they made, in addition to what I just said, which is that you can use the element system a little bit easier when you're playing solo. They have added what's essentially a guild buff system. The interface for it looks very similar to the Soldier Training Grounds, and I think some of you might have seen it. And some people seem to have mistaken it as like a new Soldier Training Ground or something. That's not what it is. The basic concept here is that You level up the nodes, and your heroes get stronger and stronger in the Dimensional Expedition mode. I think this is pretty much created so that even smaller guilds will be able to clear the mode eventually, and it will also become easier to clear over time. I should also note that in the first Dimensional Expedition, you are not allowed to grind a mode after the entire mode was beaten, at least as far as I can recall. So this time you are allowed to do that, so you don't need to worry about your guildies beating the mode too quickly after the second run and onwards. You can grind it as much as you want after your guildmates have conquered everything. But yeah, like I said, overall, they're making an effort to make this mode a little bit easier to clear, and I think that's only a good thing in this case. I don't feel like they should make PvE modes too brainless, to the point where they get too boring to play, but the original Dimensional Expedition was a little bit too much for small guilds and casual players, so I'm glad they're making these changes. Okay, that's about all I have for you guys today. Haz, do you have anything final? Any final thoughts about this patch?
Nope. Looks interesting though.
Alright, so I guess those of you who are disappointed with SP Cherie or don't have confidence in SP Cherie, well, you can follow Haz. Haz is one of the masters of the game. He has reached very high ranks in Apex. He's played an account and made it to champion before, and he continues to make PvP guides to this day on his channel. So you can check him out if you want to. If you want to get some higher level PvP advice. Frontier, any thoughts here?
I'm sad about Cherie, but everything else looks really good.
All right, like I said, SP Cherie is still not out as we're recording this. Maybe we're just completely wrong. Maybe we're missing something that we're not seeing. That's always possible. We'll see.
Okay.
But overall, Haz, thank you for taking
thank you very much for showing up.
2 hours out of your life to come talk about a video game that nobody plays anymore.
Thank you for having me.
All right, everybody. If you're interested in more PvP advice, go check out Hazuchio's channel. He's got a lot of great advice for people, aspiring PvP players, and people who want to learn more advanced tactics. So, with that out of the way, thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you guys next time.
Farewell.